Hey friends, my name is Jennifer and I moved to the UK from East Tennessee in 2025 with my British husband and fur babies. My goal is to explore and soak up as much of my new country as I possibly can. So let's see what adventure awaits us today. Alright guys, for today's adventure we are in Gloucester, and it took me ages to be able to pronounce that. It's not Gloucester or Gloucester, it is Gloucester. But the big draw to Gloucester, there's two things. One is the historic high street. So I wanted to show you some of these images here. Some of these buildings are so fantastic, and you can tell from this one here on the right, it is so old. So definitely the high street pulls in a lot of people. It's got some cafes, some shops, etc. But also the cathedral. The cathedral in Gloucester is both beautiful and, kind of amazing in its history. So I'm going to give you just a kind of very brief rundown. So the cathedral has a history spanning over 1,300 years. In 679 AD, a minster was founded on this site by a local ruler, which later became an abbey dedicated to St. Peter. I am pretty much reading this verbatim, by the way, from their website, on the Gloucester Cathedral website. Then in 1089, the foundation stone for the massive Norman Abbey Church, which is the core of the current building, was officially began. In 1327, King Edward II was brutally murdered at nearby Berkeley Castle, and his body was brought to Gloucester, transforming the abbey into a massive pilgrimage site and providing the wealth needed to rebuild the church. I want you to look at how beautiful this cathedral is as we move through here, because it is absolutely fantastic. But there, the history keeps going, but I just kind of want to hit the bigger thing. So the cloisters were built between 1351 and 1412, and it says they feature the earliest surviving fan vaulting in the world. We're going to talk about that a bit more in a second. But I kind of want to show you some of the stuff that we saw as we moved through. I'm not sure what this subtle movement is on my camera. It seems to be happening quite a bit recently, but I'm not sure what that is. But there are also things like this, some really amazing artifacts that are housed in here. Yeah, I don't know. You can't see the shaking in real life, so I only notice it and see it in editing. Although I will say it's happened twice, only in churches now, which is where I've noticed it. So maybe this is something else going on, maybe paranormal. Very strange. But it literally looks like there's a sonic boom going off in my video, but I promise it wasn't dramatic like that in real life. So I am sorry about how shaky this is. I'm telling you guys, my Samsung S25 has S26. Either way, it's not been the greatest. I've got some complaints. But anyway, let's look at some of this architecture. The cathedral is made up of multiple rooms, and as you can see, each kind of area of the cathedral has its own bit of personality. So we really enjoyed exploring this. It is the big draw to Gloucester, and I can see why. It is absolutely an amazing experience. So definitely make some time to spend here if you are coming in. All right, for our literary connection today, we have Beatrix Potter, which is very exciting. So the story is that she was visiting her cousin, and there was a tailor, I think his name was John Pritchard, and he left an unsewn coat only to find it miraculously finished the next day. And she wrote the story, The Tailor of Gloucester, about the mice that rescue this tailor by finishing his coat. So they have turned this house into this museum to Beatrix Potter, and it has the cutest shop. It is so worth a walk through because it has just some amazing stuff about her life and her connection not just to Gloucester but also to other areas in the UK as well. But this shop, I could have just stayed in this shop all day. I love this kind of stuff. I have found out that Jeremy Fisher, which is that frog, is my absolute favorite Beatrix Potter character. I don't know why, but I just love him. So I try to find stuff with him on it whenever I can. So I got a couple of spoons and some things like that in here. But the shop is amazing, and here's just some clips of the museum and some of the first edition books they have, etc. But it's a really cool literary connection that Gloucester can, use for a brag. It's also at the very end of this tiny little alley. It's absolutely adorable. Okay, so for our pop culture reference today, it's kind of a big one, and that is getting back to these cloisters that I mentioned earlier in the Gloucester Cathedral. This whole area was used in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets pretty heavily. In fact, there is an entire little computer out. That one's Half-Blood Prince, not Chamber of Secrets, although I'm pretty sure Chamber of Secrets was filmed in here as well. But it will show you, yeah, right there, that is where the chamber was opened. And so it will show you kind of like where all of the famous scenes were filmed, but you can see here is where that writing was written on the wall. And you can match up these sort of filming locations. But this entire area was used in multiple of the films. It's a pretty cool thing. You can also go through, and as I say, you can walk it yourself. You can kind of feel like you're in Hogwarts as you're walking through these cloister areas. And I think that that's probably what a lot of people were doing, because you can just tell, like, people really get into filming locations. And obviously there is a huge history here outside of Harry Potter, so I'm not claiming that like that's what makes these cloisters cool. But once you have seen them used in that way, it is really cool to get a feel for movie magic and how they kind of pieced these cloisters together as part of the bigger filming experience of Hogwarts. So let's take a moment here and just walk through the cloisters, and let's just feel like we are in a film. Going from church to a great evil, I'm going to change topic here for a second, but I really debated whether or not to put this in, and I don't know that pop culture is the right place to put it. But at the end of the day, I decided that I would put it in here because I think that victims should be remembered, and bad things should be remembered because the victims should be remembered, and we should try our best to remember these things to prevent future occurrences like this from happening. But when I think of Gloucester, I think of Fred and Rose West, famous serial killers who abused their own family members and murdered many young women and young girls. And that is unfortunately the connection to Gloucester that I, along with many other people, have. But this is 25 Midland Road. This is their first property where they buried one of Fred's daughters, and this property still stands. And then this is the famous 25 Cromwell Street. I wanted to kind of like be incognito going through here because I don't want to be a gawker. They tore it down ages ago, probably to prevent people like me being able to come to the site. But it was right here in between this Seventh-day Adventist church and the property next to it. So that huge hole there is where the property was. And then I just wanted to kind of show you these houses so you can get a feel for the neighborhood and what that was like. I understand why they tore it down. I think I completely get it. But also I was kind of sad to see that there wasn't a memorial, a plaque to the victims, something. I kind of wish there was. So if you think this is an absolute horrible taste for me to even put this here, I do understand. But Gloucester, unfortunately, is a huge part of its history. Dark history, but history nonetheless. Okay, let's talk about something much lighter. So for lunch, we ate at the docks, which I'm going to show you the docks a bit more in a second. But this place is called Greek on the Docks, and we started out with just some different Greek appetizers. They also had gluten-free pita bread for the hummus, which is a great big deal. So that was amazing. They had tons of gluten-free selection. Alex and I both had what were labeled as traditional Greek items, and it was delicious. Highly recommend this place. Okay, our first site, good luck with me pronouncing this, but it was the Lanthony Segunda Priory. Yeah, please don't come for me. I have no idea. But this was founded in 1136 as a refuge for Augustinian canons fleeing attacks in Wales. So this has been here for a very long time. And then it ended up evolving, again, I'm getting this straight from Wikipedia, evolving into one of England's wealthiest monasteries before it was dissolved in 1538. And it has been used extensively for various different things since. And also, apparently, even during the English Civil War, it was used as part of like a base for artillery, etc. But it is a really, really cool building, and I wanted to show you. So now I think they use it for wedding venues, and I'm like, oh, what a beautiful place to have a wedding. But they've obviously done work on it over the years, and you know, there's this adjacent area here over to the right. So it's a pretty big building, and it's just really cool, and you can just see it kind of off in the distance right off the docks, and it kind of sticks out because you can just tell that it's been there longer than its surrounding pieces. So really cool. Our next place is the Blackfriars Priory, and this was founded in 1239 under Henry III, and it is one of Britain's best preserved medieval Dominican priories. That is directly from the English Heritage site. We did not go in. I've seen pictures on the inside, so maybe we would have been allowed to, and I'm not sure why we didn't try, but I will tell you why we didn't try, because there were people that were really dressed up, if you could see through this gate, that were down through that other end, that were doing something. There seemed to be an event or something going on with people in very formal attire. So I felt like we probably should not be interrupting that.
On the outskirts of Gloucester, we are at the Purton Ships Graveyard. And it says these ships, this is the largest ship graveyard in mainland Britain, and it says that there are over 2 miles of ships that were intentionally beached between 1909 and 1965. So let's see what we see. The final resting place. Are these the names of the ships? Or the...
Guess so.
The Marianne? I don't know.
There's some ship. There's some ship.
Wait, oh. Wow. The water level has eroded even further back than... Oh, right in front of me. Look at this. Wow, that is really weird. There's one as well. Wow, that is really weird. Here's one. Wow, so actually, right now, Gigi and I are on the boat. That is really crazy. There's holes everywhere. Come on, Gigi. Come on. Wow, this is a whole boat. How weird. Look at this, Alex. How weird.
See?
Do you want to take her? Don't want her to go off the edge. Look at this. Wow. And just mudded up, grown over. And this is like the swamps of sadness here. If you know, you know.
Looks like they filled in with concrete.
Filled in the boat with concrete? They're everywhere. Wow. Well, that's a bit sad. And I guess it goes on for 2 miles, which we're obviously not going to walk down that far, but this is a very sad, desolate place. Weird. Very weird. Anyway, quite worth checking out. It's super weird to see these boats just here. Again, I'm just standing on this boat. Very strange. It's probably going to get wet because it is raining, but this is called Severn Bore. And this is a river. I believe it's a river. And the tides basically, they create the perfect storm to make huge currents on this river where there are actual surfing. There are surfers. There are actual surfers that come and surf this. Now, right now, as you can see, it is low. I don't even know like how this fills up or whatever, but yeah, they're actual surfers that come and surf on this, which is crazy. But it is rainy and yucky, so I just wanted to kind of get a feel for this. This is the site of Cooper's Hill, and this is where the famous cheese roll is. Now, obviously, I think they've already had the event because there is lots of trash and stuff that they haven't yet picked up, but this is what the hill looks like if you want to see. It is quite steep. It is it's no wonder people fall down. I mean, that is a huge embankment. But yeah, they do this really weird thing where they roll some cheese down this hill and then they chase after it to see who can get it while they tumble down. I've never seen it. It's hard to imagine it, but it's a pretty big tradition here in Gloucestershire. So yeah, here is the famous cheese roll site, Cooper's Hill.
My first don't miss is the Keys area. There is a huge indoor shopping center at the Keys, and it is amazing. There are so many shops in here. If you are a shopper, this is where you want to go. I thought it was going to be just kind of like this small shopping center. There's a huge car park on top of it with a car wash in it, by the way, which we utilized. They washed our car while we dropped it off and we went shopping. So it's really cool. So there is numerous shops both indoor at the shopping center and in the outdoor surrounding areas. So don't miss the Keys if you come to Gloucester. I think it's relatively a new area that they've kind of built up, and it's awesome. There's also a lot of little restaurants and cafes and coffee shops here as well. But for me personally, I think the shopping was just next level, and it leads right onto the next site, which is the dock. The docks are cool because it's just a really cool place to walk around. They have this little carnival area for kids. They have ice cream. They have an ice cream and boat. They have a gelato. They have several gelato shops, cafes, coffee shops. Look at all of these streets. If this had been a nice day, it would be such a cool place to come and have lunch, chill out, maybe have a glass of wine, have a cup of coffee, whatever. But the docks are just a really cool place, and I imagine it would be awesome in the summertime when it was warm. Also, don't miss in Gloucester, there's just like some random things like this vending machine with baked goods. What? That is super cool. Another thing is there's a huge cider culture. So anywhere you go, there's tons of cider options, even cider takeaway, as you can see here. So don't miss looking out for cider if you want to try some local cider. All right, this park, Robbinswood Hill, is the next don't miss area. Now, it was a rainy, yucky, horrible day. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see the best of it, but we're told this is an awesome place to visit.
There is some really good hiking up here, we're told, and some trails. I'm just gonna go for a little walk through if I can, because it's raining and yucky. Alex is in the car with the dogs. It's just kind of turned into a bit of a rainy afternoon. But let's just do a little walk up through. Apparently there's some really cool like garden statues through here. I don't know how far they are. Oh, it's rainy and yucky. But yeah, the trails up here are supposed to be really good. Let me take a look at this map. And once you get to the top, apparently the views are amazing. Ooh. Let's just see if we can have just a little walk through. It's one of those things that the weather was uncertain today, so we weren't sure how much we'd get to do. But the rain has definitely not been on our side this afternoon. But I don't want to complain too much because it was decent earlier. There's some kids. I don't want to bother anybody. It smells like somebody's burning something. I don't know. Ooh. It's a pretty graphic sign. Yeah. There's some kids doing some things, moving some stacks of wood, etc. So I don't want to get involved in that. But if you come visit, and it's a nice sunny day, apparently this is a great place with some cool trails.
And the last thing that I'm going to say don't miss is the cheese. So we found this place called God Sells, which actually sells local single and double Gloucester cheese. Yeah, the same one they roll down the hill. Look at this. You can even get a milkshake with fresh milk. Things like this in the UK are so amazing. I mean, the coolest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen a vending machine of cheese. Anyway, we did get some. Make sure you try the cheese. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed the double a little bit better than the single, but I thought they were both really nice. But that concludes my visit to Gloucester. So let me know in the comments down below what you think, if you've ever been here, and tell me where I should head next. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!